Okay, so we've all seen this happen, right? You're following someone on social media, maybe an old friend, a creator you love, and then one day, they just stop. Poof, gone. So why does that happen, and what's really going on there?
I mean, it's a super familiar feeling. You're just scrolling through your feed and it hits you. Huh, I haven't seen an update from them in weeks, maybe even months. They've just vanished into thin air. And, our first thought is usually something like, oh no, is everything okay? Or maybe we assume they're just feeling insecure. But what if I told you it's the exact opposite? What if going quiet online isn't a retreat at all, but actually a huge sign of growth? We're talking about a journey from needing an audience to becoming your own. It's a kind of mental evolution. To really get this, we have to go back to the beginning. Come on, think back to when you first joined social media. Remember that initial buzz, that excitement? Well, let's call that the honeymoon phase, because it's a seriously powerful experience. It was all about connection, right? You were building this online version of yourself, and every single notification, every comment, it was a rush of validation. It's that little dopamine hit in your brain, that chemical reward that just says, yes, keep doing this. It felt like proof that people were listening. And that very first like, oh man, that was powerful. It told you that you were doing it right.
But just like any real honeymoon, that initial thrill, it doesn't last forever. Eventually, you hit a plateau. The likes start to lose their magic. And this is where a really fascinating psychological process starts to kick in.
Okay, so there's a term for this. It's called hedonic adaptation. And basically, it's our brain's built-in system for just getting used to things. It's the same thing that helps us bounce back from tough times, but it also makes us get used to the good stuff, like a constant stream of likes. Our happiness level just kind of resets.
And this is where it turns into a treadmill. You post something, you get 100 likes, and it feels great. But the next time, well, now you need like 110 likes just to feel that exact same rush. You have to keep running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. It is absolutely exhausting. So here's the bottom line. That reward system has diminishing returns. That validation that once felt so amazing, so meaningful, now it feels a little hollow. That 100th like just can't compete with the memory, with the feeling of that very first one. And this is where the real evolution begins. This is the fork in the road. When those external rewards stop working, you have a choice. You can either keep grinding it out on that treadmill, or you can get off and start looking for something more stable, something internal. And that something has a name too. It's called self-concept clarity. All this really means is having a strong, stable sense of who you are, deep down. It means your identity isn't tied to your follower count or how much engagement your last post got. Your self-worth, it comes from inside you, not from an audience. Think of it this way. When you're constantly chasing likes, you're basically using a map drawn by other people, right? You're letting their opinions tell you where to go. But when you develop self-concept clarity, it's like you suddenly have your own internal compass. You know your own true north, so you don't need anyone else to tell you if you're heading in the right direction. I mean, look at this transformation. On one side, you've got a life motivated by likes. You need an audience, you post for a reaction, and your sense of self is pretty unstable. But on the other side, guided by that internal clarity, you become your own audience. You start living for the experience itself, not just to post about it later. And your identity becomes stable because it's built on your own core values. So where does this all lead? Well, it leads to a complete redefinition of what it even means to be online. It's this big shift away from performance and toward authenticity, even if that authenticity happens to be quiet. So if we boil this whole journey down, it really comes in 3 stages. First, you have the chase, right? The hunt for validation. Then comes the burnout, that moment you realize, hey, this isn't really fulfilling. And finally, you arrive at the clarity, where you find a sense of self that just doesn't need an audience to feel real. So let's bring it all home. The next time you notice someone you follow has gone quiet online, don't jump to the conclusion that it's a sign of weakness or insecurity. It is far more likely that you're witnessing an act of incredible psychological strength. It's a conscious choice to step off that treadmill and start trusting their own inner compass. And that really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Whether you post every single day or just once a year, it's worth asking yourself, when you choose to be quiet online, what story is your digital silence really telling? Is it a retreat, or is it a sign that you've found your own way?